with his disciples after he has a moment with the woman at the well. Do you guys know that story, the woman at the well? Yeah. It's a Samaritan woman. So there's a few things in that story that make it wild. The fact that Jesus was talking one-on-one with a woman, you didn't do that in that day. A man did not approach a woman he did not know and actually engage with her in that way. You don't do that. Two, you guys are Bible scholars, you know this. Two, there was a time of day to go to the water fountain, the water well, and to get water. She was there at the wrong time because she didn't want to go during the water cooler where all the ladies were there and talking. There was a sense of shame and isolation. She went there by herself. And three, she was a Samaritan. And in that culture, Samaritans were looked down upon. Samaritans were the scum of the earth. In fact, this is why when Jesus shares about the story of the Good Samaritan, the reason it offended the people that heard it isn't because Jesus talked about the worship leader and the lead pastor, the outreach coordinator, all walking to the other side of the road while a man bled and died. They weren't mad at Jesus because he was calling them out. They were mad at Jesus because he made a Samaritan the hero of the story. Samaritans were neglected people. Samaritans were people that no one wanted anything to do with. Samaritans were the ones that you taught your children. Do not engage with them. Do not connect with them. They're below the place where animals are in our society. So as a culture, you're bred and you're encouraged to look down upon them. And now Jesus is hanging out with a Samaritan woman at the well. And the disciples are like, what has gotten into Jesus? Before verse 35, the disciples are saying, has Jesus had anything to eat? It's like the original Snickers commercial. You're not you when you're hungry. You guys know that one? Those are some of my favorites. It's showing a person freaking out and being a diva backstage somewhere, and then someone gives them a Snickers bar and they turn into like a little princess. It's like, whoa, okay, you were this big scary animal and now you had something to eat, so now you're you again. So the disciples are trying to figure out, why would Jesus act in this way to love, encourage, restore, engage someone who we're not supposed to engage with? And they go, he must be hungry. And then there's a couple of verses in there where they keep on talking about, has anyone brought him food? Does he have any snacks? They're trying to figure out, why would Jesus do this? And then finally, in John 4:35, I'm a real hipster. I have my Bible on my phone these days. You know what I'm saying? It's awesome. In John 4:35, Jesus says this. He says, do you not say there are still 4 months and then comes the harvest? Now, this is what's called a rhetorical question. Because anyone would say, yes, Jesus. In fact, we don't just say it. Everybody says it. Like, you plant, you water, you chop away all right now we're doing this in our yard, get all the weeds out of there, turn over the mulch, find strange bugs on your plant and call somebody. Like, you do that, you take care, that after 4 months, it's harvest time. But then check it out, Jesus says this, he says, behold, I say to you to lift up your eyes and look out at the fields, for they are already white for harvest. Jesus is introducing this amazing new paradigm, saying it doesn't matter what you see in the world around you, there's a greater spiritual principle that says it's ready. I don't know what your checklist is for revival in your family, your neighborhood, your friends, this city, America, your home country. I don't know what your formula is of like, okay, we need to do spiritual gymnastics. We need to have 84 prayer meetings. We need to bring in the most famous evangelists of all time. We need to reverse tithe for a while, meaning we give 90% of our income and live off 10. I don't know what spiritual gymnastics you're thinking we need in this area to see revival. Jesus is saying it's ready. It doesn't matter what you see. In fact, all I know, the Bible teaches us, as the world gets darker, the church will shine brighter. So in my mind, when I see the world acting worldly, I go, okay.